Now, publicans are calling on the government to loosen licensing rules for pub opening hours this Sunday ahead of the Women's World Cup final, with the government encouraging councils overnight to get pubs open earlier.
The Lionesses, of course, are going to play Spain at 11 a.m. this Sunday after beating Australia earlier this week. But current regulations mean that most pubs can't serve alcohol before 11 and many not until midday.
Well, Rethman is a restaurateur who says he is all for pubs opening early as it's good for business and the industry.
But social commentator Bushra Shaikh says, why would pubs want to open for something that isn't even a big deal? Ooh, good morning to you both.
Why don't we start with you, Alex, as somebody who's in favour of this. But before that, what are the technicalities around this? So is it true that on a Sunday you can't serve booze until midday? And how might you go about changing that for this one-off event?
What I would say is, broadly speaking, we have quite complex licences in this country. So I've had an active comparison with Spain, where I've been working previously, and there they tend to have just a broader licensing where they can open from 8 in the morning to whatever, and it's sort of driven by the market, what people want in the local area. And of course, they have to enforce if there's drunk behaviour, anything that's antisocial, any security, anything like this, then obviously that becomes a problem for the licence. Here we have, driven by the licensing authority in the area, quite complex sort of situations where people have different trading hours, different opening hours and different hours for selling alcohol specifically. In this case, the issue is, I would say broadly, that most have a licence to sell alcohol from 11 or 12. What they'd like to do is start earlier because there's a special event that people want to attend and want to have a drink at, and there's not enough time between the semi-final and the final to get a temporary event notice in.
Right.
If were they to apply for that before we know we're going to the final, it might be a wasted application.
Okay, so that's the technicalities, but in principle, it's a good thing, right? I mean, people should be able to go and watch sports somewhere and have a drink if they choose. Not compulsory to have a booze at 11 in the morning, but if you want to, surely they should be allowed.
Well, I would separate the personal for me from my own personal sort of feelings from what others do. I myself can't possibly access the thought or the idea that you would need to have a drink at 10 o'clock in the morning to enjoy a sports event, but obviously many people would like to. And from my point of view, every licensee is charged with the responsibility of making sure people behave responsibly, don't leave the venue drunk, make a mess, whether it be 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, 10 o'clock at night. And as we all well know, the British are capable of getting drunk at any time of day and causing a problem. So I can't really see where the difference is here. And in fact, I would contend that dealing with a few people having a drink at 10 a.m. is a lot less difficult than dealing with a packed pub at 11 p.m.
10 p.m.
So we already have established that licensees and their staff are responsible and are able to act within the licensing laws. At these times, I can't see what the problem is.
OK, Bushra, what's your point of view?
My point of view is, honestly, I don't think that many Brits need to have a drink so early in the morning. It's a football match. It's a Sunday morning. We are also trying to reduce our alcohol consumption in the UK as well. We are trying to veer away from that. So this might be an opportunity to really introduce people of how they can have a family-filled, enjoyed environment without having to get the Home Office and the government to do additional work when they've got other pressing things to do just to have alcohol for an additional hour.
But Bushra, in the name of gender equality, let's remember that during the Japan World Cup, pubs were open routinely at breakfast time in Britain and they were serving a full English with a few pints. It was fantastic. Surely we want the same for the women.
Oh, OK, so we're going to make this about gender. I think had maybe they thought this out before, they maybe had more time to understand that this could happen, give people an extra hour. But I just don't see why. I mean, can pubs just not open without serving alcohol? And you could have some snacks and some other drinks, People, I mean, there are lots of lovely drinks that are mocktails that are not alcohol-based.
I just think on a special day when you're joining with other people and getting excited about something, I can't see what's wrong with a beer at 11 o'clock on a Sunday morning. Can you?
May I?
Bushra?
Well, I think it's more culture. I personally don't drink, so I can enjoy myself without having alcohol. And I think this is a good issue to talk about because in general, I think alcohol consumption is on the rise. We are seeing that people are drinking more. We are seeing antisocial behaviour. So these are kind of elements that we do need to look at across. And I do get your point. It's a football match, although personally, I don't think that the women's football is as great as the men's football. But that's my personal opinion. I don't think with women's football we're just there yet. I still feel like it's a very masculine game, and I'm used to seeing men play football and not women. But, you know, that's a whole different debate. But yeah, I just feel like an additional hour of alcohol is unnecessary. And honestly, the government have more important things to do than to worry about an extended licence.
Well, you say that, but Sir Keir Starmer wants to call a bank holiday if the Lionesses win, so it is a political thing because people want brownie points. But back to the topic of drinking, Alex. I remember during the Japan World Cup, everyone said, oh my God, the English can't be trusted with alcohol, it's going to be chaos. That didn't happen. People can be trusted responsibly if you treat them as adults. We see in airports or even in train stations, travelling football fans having a drink and not always getting into trouble. So surely for this one-off, the government shouldn't be party poopers and we should say, go Lionesses, raise a glass to them.
Yeah, sorry, I have to slow down because I understand what you're saying. I need to take point by point what was said there. So basically what we're saying is it's a lot of the work to go to central government to make this one small change. I couldn't possibly agree. So the overarching thing is I'm old enough to remember when the magistrates court, in fact, when I went for my first licence, my mum was a magistrate in the local area and she had to recuse herself to make sure there was no bias. I remember the magistrates sitting at virtually zero cost to the community and making decisions in the local community, and now it's all centralised. So I couldn't agree more that it's a fiasco that we have to go to the Home Office to get a change in a minor thing like this. It's literally the equivalent to the CEO of GB News having to approve a biscuit order. It's a joke, OK, I agree with you. So let's just say, furthermore, if you look at the comparison with Spain, which I won't hop on about it, but I spent a lot of time there, I grew up there, the licences, you can open from 8 in the morning until 2 in the morning, normal cafe bar licence, no problem whatsoever. They have local police out making sure that there's no bad behaviour. Licensing objectives in general shouldn't interfere with business until there's a problem in the community because of people drinking.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. It shouldn't be intervening unnecessarily, and I couldn't agree more. I basically don't drink. I have a glass of wine every couple of months. I personally don't like to drink, but I don't understand where you get off deciding that people shouldn't be able to have a drink because you don't like having one.
As long as they behave.
It's literally like, if
I'm going to have to call time on it here, otherwise we don't have any time for anything else in the programme. But Alex, Bushra, thank you both so very much. Yeah.